Reflections, The Many Faces of You, by David Russo. Introduction, The Mirror of Connection. Welcome to a journey of deep self-exploration, where every person you encounter becomes more than just someone passing through your life. They become a reflection of you. This book invites you to see relationships differently, not simply as interactions, but as mirrors revealing pieces of your inner world. Every face you meet carries meaning. Some will reflect your joy and inspiration. Others may reveal your fears, wounds, or hidden strengths. None of these reflections are random. Each interaction offers insight into who you are and who you are becoming. Throughout life, we cross paths with countless individuals. Some remain with us for years, while others appear only briefly. Yet each person, in their own way, reflects something meaningful about our own hearts and experiences. Through these reflections we gain clarity, awareness, and the opportunity for transformation. Most people think of a mirror as something that shows only physical appearance, but the mirrors that exist in human connection go much deeper. They reveal our emotions, beliefs, patterns, and spiritual truths. The people around us help illuminate the parts of ourselves that may otherwise remain unseen. As you move through these pages, remember that this book is not truly about others, it is about you. The individuals who appear in your life are not simply characters in your story. They are guides helping you better understand your own. Through them, you discover your ability to love, to heal, to grow, and to face the deeper parts of your humanity. This is more than a book, it is an invitation to observe your relationships with curiosity and openness, an invitation to notice the reflections that life continually presents to you. By learning to recognize yourself in others, you begin to understand that personal growth is not only an inward journey, it is also found in connection. The people around you become teachers, mirrors, and companions along the path of self-discovery. As you begin this journey, remain open to what life reveals. Every person you encounter contributes a piece to the greater mosaic of your soul. Within each reflection lies a lesson, a truth, or a moment of wisdom waiting to be seen. The journey begins now. Chapter 1. The Mirror Within. Before we explore the reflections we see in others, we must first turn our attention inward. The most powerful mirror you will ever encounter is the one that reveals your own inner self. Many of us spend our lives trying to understand the world around us, searching for meaning in circumstances, relationships, and experiences. Yet true understanding begins when we look inside ourselves. Every person you meet reflects something about your internal landscape. The qualities you admire, the behaviors that frustrate you, and the emotions that others evoke often mirror something already present within you. Think about someone who inspires you. Perhaps it is their confidence, kindness, or wisdom. What draws you to those traits? Often, the qualities we admire in others reflect values or strengths that exist within us, even if we have not fully recognized or developed them yet. In the same way, the traits that irritate or challenge us can also be reflections. When someone's behavior triggers frustration or discomfort, it may highlight an unresolved feeling or belief within ourselves. This is not a reason for self-judgment, but an opportunity for deeper awareness. Instead of immediately focusing on what others are doing wrong, we can ask a more powerful question: why does this reaction exist within me? By approaching these moments with curiosity instead of criticism, we gain insight into ourselves. The people around us become mirrors showing both our light and our shadows. We recognize the light in others because that light exists in us as well. And when we see flaws or struggles in others, we are often being invited to explore and heal similar aspects within ourselves. Through these reflections, we grow. Each interaction becomes an opportunity to evolve into a fuller expression of who we are. When we begin to understand this dynamic, our perspective shifts. The world no longer feels separate from us. Instead, we see how deeply interconnected we are, sharing experiences, emotions, and lessons through the people we meet. Human connection becomes a powerful mirror reflecting our shared humanity. This chapter invites you to approach yourself with compassion and openness. The reflections you see around you are not coincidences. They are gentle messages guiding you toward deeper understanding. Take a moment to consider the people in your life. What qualities stand out to you? What reactions do they evoke? Within those reflections, you may find pieces of your own story waiting to be recognized. The mirror within you is always present, quietly offering insight and guidance. By acknowledging its reflections, you move closer to understanding your true self and the endless possibilities that unfold from that awareness. Chapter 2. The Faces of Joy. Joy is one of life's most powerful and uplifting experiences, yet many people spend their lives searching for it in distant goals or future moments, believing happiness is something that must be achieved before it can be felt. In reality, joy often appears in the simplest and most unexpected ways, and the people around us frequently reflect it back to us. When you witness joy in another person, pause for a moment and observe it fully. Notice the warmth in their smile, the brightness in their eyes, or the energy in their laughter. These expressions reveal more than a fleeting emotion. They remind us that joy already exists within the human experience. Each person expresses joy differently. For some, it appears in quiet moments of peace, a warm drink on a cold morning, the gentle sound of rain, or the calm presence of nature. Others experience joy through connection, shared laughter with friends, meaningful conversations, or the act of helping someone in need. Still others find joy through creativity, achievement, or the pursuit of a passion that brings their spirit alive. There is no single way to experience happiness. What brings joy to one person may look completely different for another. Yet all forms of joy share one important truth. They remind us that happiness is always available in some form. Think about the people in your life who naturally radiate joy. What about them lifts your spirit or makes you feel inspired? Often it is not grand gestures that create this feeling, but the small ways they embrace life, how they laugh easily, express gratitude, or bring warmth into a room. When you witness joy in others, you are also witnessing your own capacity for happiness. Their joy acts as a mirror reflecting what is possible within you. Many people believe joy must be earned, that it arrives only after challenges are overcome or goals are reached. But joy is not a reward reserved for special moments. It is a natural part of being human. The more we allow ourselves to notice and appreciate joy around us, the more we awaken that same feeling within our own hearts. If someone in your life seems effortlessly joyful, let their presence inspire you rather than discourage you. Their happiness is not separate from yours. It simply reminds you that joy is something we all carry within us. In the smiles, laughter, and gratitude of others, life whispers an important truth. There is light here. There is beauty here. And when we recognize that light in others, we also begin to recognize it within ourselves. The next time you see someone experiencing genuine joy, allow yourself to feel it too. Let that moment remind you that happiness is not distant or unattainable. It is present in the small moments of life, waiting patiently to be noticed. Joy is not found only at the end of a journey. Often, it exists quietly in the very moment you are living now. Chapter 3. Shadows of Fear. Fear is a universal experience, one that we all encounter at some point in our lives. It often feels like a shadow, following us, lingering just outside the light. But fear is not something to run from or avoid. It is a powerful mirror that reveals parts of us we might not yet understand. The faces of fear that we see in others are reflections of our own, offering us a chance to heal, grow, and evolve. When you see fear in someone else, whether it's a hesitation in their voice, a tremble in their hands, or a nervous glance, take a moment to pause and ask yourself, what is it about this fear that resonates with me? Sometimes, we are quick to dismiss fear in others, labeling it as weakness or uncertainty. But fear is not a weakness. It is a messenger. It shows us what we care about, what we value, and what we might need to release in order to grow. Fear is a deeply human emotion, and it often appears in the faces of those we love, of strangers we pass on the street, and even in our own reflection. But rather than seeing fear as something to be ashamed of, we can choose to see it as an opportunity for growth. Fear is not the enemy, it is a guide. It points us toward the areas of our lives that need attention, healing, and courage. When we recognize fear in others, we often feel a sense of discomfort, maybe even a desire to fix or protect them. But in doing so, we miss the deeper invitation. When you see fear in someone else, Understand that you are looking at your own fear reflected back at you. Perhaps it is fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of the unknown. Whatever the form it takes, know that the fear you see is a reflection of your own. Instead of pushing the fear away or judging it, approach it with curiosity and compassion. Ask yourself, what is this fear trying to teach me? By embracing the fear we see in others, we begin to recognize that fear is not something to be conquered, but something to be understood. It is a natural part of the human experience, and by acknowledging it, we create space for healing and transformation. Fear also has a powerful way of uniting us. When you witness someone else's fear, it can be a reminder that we are not alone in our struggles. We are all navigating the unknown in some way, all walking through life with our own shadows. But when we see that fear in others and choose to embrace it, rather than judge or avoid it, we open the door to connection. In that moment, we are reminded that fear is not something we face alone, it is something we face together. So, the next time you encounter fear in someone else, whether it's a friend, a loved one, or even a stranger, pause and reflect. Allow yourself to connect with the fear that you see, rather than feeling separate from it. Recognize that this fear is part of your shared humanity. It is a reminder that we are all vulnerable, all facing uncertainty, and all capable of growth. Remember, fear is not a reflection of weakness. It is a reflection of your strength to face the unknown. By embracing the fear you see in others, you invite yourself to embrace your own, and in doing so, you free yourself from its grip, opening up space for courage, compassion, and transformation to flow into your life. Fear may cast a shadow, but that shadow is not the end of the story. It is the beginning of a new chapter, a chapter where you choose to walk through the fear, to learn from it, and to find the light that exists on the other side. Chapter 4. The Strength of Vulnerability. Vulnerability is often misunderstood. In a world that celebrates strength, resilience, and self-reliance, we have been conditioned to see vulnerability as a weakness, a flaw to be hidden, or an emotion to be avoided. But in truth, vulnerability is not something to fear. It is a doorway to true strength, connection, and transformation. It is through our vulnerability that we discover the most authentic versions of ourselves. When you witness vulnerability in others, whether it's a shared tear, an honest confession, or a moment of raw openness, it can stir something deep within you. You might feel a sense of admiration, perhaps even a longing to experience that same openness yourself. But vulnerability isn't just something we see in others. It's something we all carry within us. It is a reflection of the parts of us that yearn to be seen, to be loved, and to be understood. In others, vulnerability shows up in different ways. It might be in the tenderness of a parent cradling their child, in the courage of someone sharing their truth for the first time, or in the quiet strength of someone asking for help. But what all these moments have in common is that they are an invitation to connect, both with others and with ourselves. When someone is vulnerable, they are showing us their heart, allowing us a glimpse into the depth of their humanity. But here's the truth. Our vulnerability is not something to hide, shame, or lock away. It is through our vulnerability that we find true freedom. When we allow ourselves to be seen fully without masks, without pretenses, and without fear of judgment, we open ourselves up to the possibility of true connection. And in that connection, we find healing, compassion, and a profound sense of belonging. The strength of vulnerability lies in its ability to transform us. It allows us to face our fears, to acknowledge our wounds, and to step into our true power. It is in the moments when we allow ourselves to be vulnerable that we discover what we are truly capable of. Vulnerability is not about being weak. It is about having the courage to show up as we are, to be imperfect, and to trust that we are worthy of love and acceptance, exactly as we are. When we see vulnerability in others, it is a reflection of the vulnerability that lives within us. It is a reminder that we are all human, and that we are all walking this path of life together. In witnessing someone else's openness, we are invited to open our own hearts, to embrace our own imperfections, to let go of the need for control, and to trust in the beauty of being seen. So, the next time you encounter vulnerability in another, pause and take it in. Recognize that this vulnerability is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of strength, courage, and authenticity. And when you find vulnerability within yourself, don't shy away from it. Allow it to be a guiding light, a source of power that leads you toward deeper connection, compassion, and growth. Remember, true strength is not found in hiding our vulnerability, but in embracing it. It is in allowing ourselves to be seen, to feel, and to connect, that we find the courage to move through the world with an open heart. And in that openness, we find the strength to transform not only ourselves, but the world around us. Chapter 5. Love's Many Faces. Love is one of the most powerful forces that exists. It connects people, softens hearts, and brings light into moments that might otherwise feel dark. Yet love is not limited to just one form or expression. It is expansive and diverse, showing itself in countless ways through the lives of the people around us. By observing these different expressions, we begin to understand the depth of our own ability to love. Love appears in many relationships and moments. It can be the unwavering devotion a parent feels toward their child, the gentle closeness between partners who have grown together through the years, or the loyal bond that exists between close friends. It can also be the quiet care we give ourselves when we choose rest, patience, or forgiveness. Each form of love acts like a reflection, revealing something about our own heart. When you notice love expressed by others, pause and consider what it awakens in you. Ask yourself what it reveals about your own ability to give and receive love. Often, love is most visible in small and simple moments. A warm smile from across a room, someone reaching out their hand during a difficult time, or a kind word spoken when someone feels uncertain. These are powerful expressions of care. Love does not always arrive in dramatic gestures or grand declarations. More often, it lives in quiet acts of presence and attention. It exists in how we listen, how we support each other, and how we allow others to be seen without judgment. Yet love is not only something we offer to others, it is also something we must learn to give ourselves. The relationship we have with ourselves influences every other relationship in our lives. When we treat ourselves with kindness, care for our needs, set healthy limits, or accept our imperfections, we are practicing self-love. And when we witness others doing the same, it reminds us that we too deserve that same level of compassion and respect. Love also reaches beyond time and physical distance. It does not disappear when someone is far away, and it does not vanish when words are left unspoken. We feel it in memories of people who are no longer present, in the connection we carry for those we cherish, and even in the care we extend toward the world around us. Love flows continuously, unrestricted by space or circumstance. When you recognize love in another person, remember that what you are witnessing already exists within you. The warmth in a friend's hug or the devotion in a partner's gaze is not separate from you. It reflects the same capacity that lives inside your own heart. These moments invite you to open yourself more fully, to give generously, and to welcome love when it comes your way. As you move through life, pay attention to the many ways love reveals itself. Every time you see it expressed by someone else, allow it to remind you of the love that lives within you as well. Love is not something that runs out or needs to be guarded. It expands the more it is shared. Never forget that you deserve love in all its forms, the love offered by others, the love that exists in the world, and the love you give to yourself. Let the examples of love you see around you guide you toward living with a more open heart. Love is more than a feeling that comes and goes. It is part of your very nature. When you welcome it in all its expressions, it brings warmth, harmony, and connection not only to your life, but also to the lives of those you encounter. Chapter 6. The Weight of Pain. Pain is something every person will face at some point in their life, whether it arrives through loss, disappointment, heartbreak, or personal struggle. It is a universal part of being human. At times it can feel overwhelming and isolating, as though its weight is too much to carry. Yet when we look deeper, pain can reveal itself as more than suffering. It can become a powerful teacher that guides us toward growth, healing, and deeper compassion. When you notice someone else's pain, whether it shows through tears, quiet withdrawal, or the heaviness in their expression, you are witnessing something deeply human. Their struggle reflects a shared experience that connects all of us. Each person you encounter carries unseen challenges and private battles. Recognizing this reminds us that none of us truly walk through life alone. In that awareness, empathy and understanding can begin to grow. Pain also has a way of revealing our vulnerability. It removes the masks we often wear and exposes the tender parts of who we are. Through it, we discover emotions we may have ignored or buried. While pain itself is difficult, it also offers insight into the areas of our lives that require care and attention. What truly matters is not only the pain we feel, but how we respond to it, how we move through it, and what we learn from the experience. There are moments when pain forces us to confront parts of ourselves we would rather avoid. It challenges our beliefs, stretches our emotional limits, and asks us to rethink who we are. Yet within this process lies the possibility of transformation. Just as physical wounds require care in order to heal, emotional wounds must also be acknowledged and allowed to surface. By facing them honestly and giving ourselves space to feel, healing can begin. When you encounter someone who is hurting, the instinct may be to immediately solve their problem or take their pain away. But often what people need most is simply to be seen and supported. Offering your presence, listening without judgment, and allowing them space to express their feelings can be one of the greatest gifts you can give. When pain appears in your own life, try to remember that it does not define who you are. It is only one part of your story. Difficult chapters do not last forever, and even the deepest hurt can eventually lead to understanding and renewal. By allowing yourself to experience your emotions fully and then slowly releasing them, you create room for peace and strength to grow. The pain we recognize in others mirrors the struggles we carry ourselves. Yet within that shared vulnerability lies the opportunity for compassion. By acknowledging that everyone experiences hardship, we become gentler with others and with ourselves. From that compassion comes resilience, allowing us to rise again after even the most difficult moments. Pain is not something we must run from or hide. It is part of the complex and transformative journey of being human. Within it are lessons that shape our character and deepen our empathy. And through witnessing the pain of others, we learn how to offer kindness and understanding. So, when pain appears, whether in your life or someone else's, approach it with patience and care. Within that experience lies the reminder that we are all connected by our humanity, and within that connection exists the strength to heal. Chapter 7. The Power of Forgiveness. Forgiveness is one of the most transformative acts of the human spirit. It is a gift we give not just to others, but to ourselves. Yet, so often, we think of forgiveness as something reserved for those who have wronged us. We view it as an obligation, a duty, or even an act of kindness that we extend only when we feel ready. But forgiveness is not about the other person, it is about freeing yourself. It is the key that unlocks the door to peace, healing, and spiritual growth. When you witness forgiveness in others, whether it's someone who has chosen to release old wounds or a person who is letting go of long-held grudges, you are witnessing a profound act of liberation. In these moments, forgiveness is a mirror, reflecting back to you the power you, too, have to let go. The people who forgive are not weak, they are strong. They have chosen to rise above the pain and the bitterness that can hold us captive. And in doing so, they make space for something far more powerful: love, peace, and renewal. Forgiveness is not a one-time act, nor is it something that comes easily. It is a process, a journey that takes time, patience, and a willingness to release what no longer serves us. It is not about forgetting the wrongs that have been done, but about choosing to no longer allow those wrongs to control our hearts. It is about reclaiming our peace and our power. Despite the hurt we have experienced, forgiveness is the act of releasing the chains that bind us, so that we can move forward with a lighter heart and an open spirit. But forgiveness begins within. We often hold grudges against others, but we are also masters at holding grudges against ourselves. We blame ourselves for mistakes, for things we wish we had done differently, and for the ways we have fallen short. But the first step in the process of forgiveness is to look inward. Can you forgive yourself for the things you regret? Can you release the guilt, the shame, and the self-judgment that weigh you down? When we choose to forgive ourselves, we allow space for healing to take place. When you witness forgiveness in others, let it inspire you. Let it remind you of the incredible power of letting go. By forgiving, you are not condoning the harm that was done, nor are you absolving anyone of their responsibility. Forgiveness is not about the other person at all. It is about you. It is about finding peace within yourself, so that you can move forward without carrying the weight of past hurts. Forgiveness is a mirror that reveals your own capacity for growth and transformation. It is a reflection of your ability to rise above your circumstances, to transcend the pain, and to choose love over anger, understanding over resentment. When you forgive, you are not only releasing the past, you are embracing a future filled with possibility and peace. You are choosing to live with an open heart, free from the heavy burdens of resentment and bitterness. The next time you are faced with a situation that calls for forgiveness, whether it's forgiving someone else or forgiving yourself, pause and reflect. Understand that in forgiveness, you are not weak, you are powerful. In forgiving, you reclaim your peace, your joy, and your ability to move forward in life with a heart that is open to love and healing. Remember, forgiveness is not a favor you do for someone else. It is a gift you give to yourself. It is the act of releasing the past so that you can step into a future filled with light, love, and limitless possibility. And in that freedom, you will find the truest form of peace. Chapter 8. The Dance of Conflict. Conflict is often seen as something negative, something to avoid, something that causes division and pain. We fear conflict, resist it, and try to keep it at bay. But what if conflict is not something to fear, but something to embrace? What if it is not an obstacle, but an opportunity for growth and healing? The truth is, conflict is a natural part of life, and when we approach it with openness and understanding, it becomes a powerful mirror, showing us parts of ourselves that need healing and growth. When you witness conflict in others, whether it's a disagreement between friends, a heated exchange between colleagues, or a family in turmoil, take a moment to reflect. What do you see? Do you see the tension, the frustration, the hurt, or do you see the opportunity for growth, understanding, and resolution? In the faces of conflict, you are looking at the mirrored reflections of your own struggles. The conflict you witness in others often holds up a mirror to the unresolved issues within yourself. Conflict, at its core, is a reflection of differing perspectives, unmet needs, and unspoken fears. It is the clash of egos, the struggle for control, or the pain of not being heard or understood. But rather than seeing conflict as something that divides us, we can choose to see it as an invitation to learn, to listen, and to grow. Every conflict, when approached with curiosity and compassion, offers an opportunity to see things from a different perspective, to understand not just the other person's point of view, but your own. When you experience conflict in your own life, remember that it is not a reflection of failure. Conflict is not something that is inherently bad or destructive. It is simply a part of the human experience. In fact, conflict can be a profound teacher. It invites us to examine our beliefs, our values, and our fears. It forces us to confront the parts of ourselves that are resistant to change, to compromise, or to understanding. And in doing so, it opens the door to transformation. Approach conflict not as a battle to be won, but as a dance, a shared experience between two or more souls who are seeking resolution. Conflict is an invitation to engage with one another in a deeper, more meaningful way. It is an opportunity to listen, not just to hear, but to truly understand. And in that understanding, we begin to find common ground, healing old wounds and building stronger, more resilient relationships. The dance of conflict also asks us to look inward. When we find ourselves in the midst of a conflict, we must ask, what is this situation trying to teach me? What fears, insecurities, or assumptions are driving my reactions? What can I learn from the other person's perspective? When we approach conflict with an open heart and a willingness to grow, we discover that it is often not the other person who needs to change, but ourselves. The conflict is a reflection of something inside of us that needs to be seen, understood, and healed. So, when conflict arises in your life, whether it's with a loved one, a colleague, or even within yourself, don't rush to avoid it. Don't let fear or anger take control. Instead, step into the dance. Approach the situation with grace, curiosity, and compassion. See it as an opportunity to grow, to learn, and to heal. Remember, conflict is not the enemy. It is a mirror, showing us where we need to grow, where we need to listen, and where we need to let go. In embracing conflict as a pathway to resolution and understanding, we transform it from a source of pain into a source of peace. Conflict, when handled with love and wisdom, can lead us to deeper connections, greater self-awareness, and a more harmonious life. The dance of conflict is one we all must learn to navigate, but when we do, we find that it is not a dance of division, but a dance of unity, a chance to heal, grow, and connect on a deeper level than ever before. Chapter 9. The Light of Hope. Hope is a light that shines brightly, even in the darkest of times. It is the thread that pulls us forward when everything around us seems uncertain, when the road ahead feels unclear, and when the weight of life's challenges feels overwhelming. Hope is not a mere wish or a fleeting feeling, it is a deep, unwavering belief in the possibility of something better, even when we cannot yet see it. It is the soul's declaration that there is always a way forward, even in the midst of struggle. When you witness hope in others, whether it's a person who continues to rise despite their setbacks, or someone who keeps believing in the beauty of life despite their pain, you are seeing the reflection of your own inner light. That hope you see is not separate from you, it is a reminder that you, too, are capable of holding hope in the face of adversity. It is in these moments of hope, both in others and in yourself, that you realize that the light within you can never be extinguished. Hope is not born from certainty, but from possibility. It is the quiet knowing that no matter what comes, there is always room for growth, for healing, and for change. Hope arises when we trust that every moment is a step on a journey, and that no difficulty, no matter how great, is permanent. It is the belief that, even in the darkest hour, a new dawn will come. In the faces of others, hope appears in many forms. Sometimes, it's the resilience of a person who refuses to give up, even when the odds seem insurmountable. Sometimes, it's the gentle faith of someone who trusts that the universe has a greater plan for them, even if they don't yet understand it. And sometimes, hope is simply the quiet strength of someone who continues to show up, day after day, in spite of the storms they face. Each expression of hope is a reflection of the strength that exists within us all. But hope is not passive, it requires action. It calls us to keep moving forward, even when we feel unsure or afraid. Hope urges us to take one more step, to keep breathing, to keep believing, and to trust that what lies ahead will be worth the journey. Hope asks us to take the leap, to step into the unknown with faith, knowing that we are guided by a force far greater than ourselves. When you face your own struggles, whether it's the loss of a loved one, a setback in your career, or a challenge in your relationships, remember that hope is not the absence of fear or pain. It is the courage to move forward despite those things. Hope is what sustains you when you feel lost, what lights your path when everything else feels dim. And in times of difficulty, it is through hope that we find our greatest strength. So, when you encounter hope in others, take a moment to pause and reflect. Let it remind you that hope is always available, even when it feels distant or out of reach. Let it be a reflection of the power within you, to rise above your circumstances and to create a future that is filled with possibility. And when you find yourself in a moment of doubt, when the world feels heavy and the road seems uncertain, remember that hope is not something you have to search for, it is already inside you. It is the spark that keeps you going, even when the night seems long. Trust in it, nurture it, and let it guide you toward the light, toward the new beginnings that await you. Hope is not just a feeling, it is the foundation of your soul's journey. It is the belief that no matter where you are or what you've been through, there is always the potential for something beautiful, something transformative, something greater. And it is through hope that we find our way back to the light. Chapter 10. The Gift of Change. Change is one of the few constants in life. No matter how much we try to resist or control it, it arrives often when we least expect it, and sometimes when we feel most unprepared for it. Yet, as daunting as change may seem, it is one of the greatest gifts we will ever receive. Change is not an interruption in our journey. It is an essential part of it. It is the force that moves us forward, helping us grow, evolve, and become the fullest versions of ourselves. When you witness change in others, whether it's someone embarking on a new chapter in their life, someone shedding old habits, or someone facing a significant transformation. You are seeing the reflection of your own potential for growth. Just as they are evolving, so too are you. The changes we see in others are mirrors, inviting us to embrace our own transformations, to release the old and step into the new with open hearts. Change often brings discomfort. It forces us to let go of what is familiar, to step into the unknown, and to trust in the process even when we can't see the outcome. It challenges our sense of security, urging us to let go of attachments and beliefs that no longer serve us. But in that discomfort lies incredible opportunity. Change is the soil in which new growth can flourish. It is the catalyst for healing, creativity, and transformation. Think for a moment about the times in your life when change has arrived, whether it was a sudden shift or a gradual transition. At first, it might have felt like a storm, something that uprooted your sense of peace and stability. But in hindsight, you may have seen that this change was exactly what you needed to become the person you are today. The changes that once felt overwhelming or challenging now hold wisdom and lessons that you could never have gained without them. It is through change that we learn to trust in the flow of life. Just as seasons shift from winter to spring, from night to day, we too experience cycles of transformation, and with each cycle, we have the opportunity to shed old skin, to release what no longer serves us, and to welcome the new. These moments of change are invitations to step into the unknown with faith, to trust that the universe is guiding us toward what is meant for us. Even if we don't understand it in the moment, the faces we encounter, the changes they experience, are reflections of our own potential for growth. When we see someone embrace change, whether it's a new job, a change in their health, or a shift in their mindset, we are reminded that we too are capable of transformation. We are reminded that we are not static beings. We are constantly evolving, constantly learning, constantly unfolding. And when change knocks on your door, whether it's a subtle nudge or a loud call, don't resist it. Embrace it. Allow yourself to trust in the unfolding process, even when it feels uncomfortable, even when it feels uncertain. Remember that change is not something that happens to you, it happens for you. It is the universe's way of guiding you to something greater, something more aligned with who you are becoming. Change is a gift because it is an invitation to grow into the next version of yourself. It is an opportunity to discover new strengths, to build resilience, and to deepen your understanding of who you are and what you're capable of. And with each change, no matter how big or small, you are moving closer to the person you were always meant to be. So, when you find yourself standing at the threshold of change, step forward with grace and faith. Know that it is the next step in your journey of becoming, of evolving into the beautiful, unique expression of life that only you can offer the world. Embrace change as the gift it truly is. Let it guide you, shape you, and transform you. For in the end, it is the constant flow of change that brings us closer to the divine, to our highest self, and to the fullest expression of the love and light that resides within us all. Conclusion: the infinite reflection. As we come to the end of this journey, remember that every person you encounter is not just an individual. They are a reflection of you. We are all mirrors for one another, each face revealing different aspects of our shared humanity. The reflections we see in others, whether in their joy, pain, love, fear, or transformation, are not just glimpses of their lives, but reflections of our own potential for growth, healing, and connection. In this dance of life, we are all interconnected. Every moment of connection, every encounter, every experience is an invitation to look deeper, to reflect inward, and to recognize the parts of ourselves we may have overlooked. When we embrace the reflections that others offer us, we unlock the doors to our own self-awareness. We begin to see our strengths, our vulnerabilities, and our true essence more clearly. Through others, we discover that we are not alone in our struggles. We share in the joys and sorrows of the world, and through this shared experience, we find both comfort and growth. When we see someone else's fear, we are reminded that fear is not a weakness, but a teacher. When we witness someone's love, we remember that love is not limited, it is infinite, and it is within us all. Through their pain, we realize the power of compassion, and the healing that comes from simply being present. And when we see someone's growth, we are reminded that change is not to be feared but embraced. It is the path to evolution, the unfolding of our higher selves. The journey of reflection is not just about understanding others, it's about understanding ourselves. As you walk through life, remember that the faces you meet are not just external, they are internal. 2. Each interaction is an opportunity to look within and ask, what can I learn from this? What is this reflection teaching me about my own heart, my own fears, my own strengths? The faces we encounter invite us to heal, to grow, and to evolve. They call us to step into our fullest potential, to embrace our light and our shadow, and to recognize the infinite possibilities within us. We are all part of a greater whole, an interconnected web of souls, moving through life, learning from one another, and supporting each other. The reflections we see in the faces of others are a sacred mirror, showing us the many facets of our own being. And in seeing these reflections, we remember that we are more than just individuals, we are expressions of the divine. Each one of us unique yet connected in a shared journey of love, growth, and spiritual awakening. So, as you continue on your path, remember that every encounter, every reflection, is an opportunity to grow deeper into yourself, to learn, and to transform. Embrace the reflections that life offers you. See the beauty in every face you meet, for in each of them, you will find a reflection of who you are, who you were, and who you are becoming. The infinite reflection is within you, and it is in embracing these reflections that we discover our true essence, our interconnectedness, with one another and with the divine. As we continue to journey together through life, may we always remember that in the faces we meet, we see not only the world, but ourselves, and in that reflection, we find the light, love, and wisdom that guide us toward greater peace, growth, and spiritual fulfillment.